Oh my goodness. Hey, folks. Hey, good people. How are y'all doing? I am truly, truly honored to be here with you guys today. It has been a pretty tough week, but I pushed through. Had a lot of stuff going on. And as you can see, I made this background. I'm going to look to make it to size so that it'll fit in the screen that shows the nowness of reparations for Black people in New Jersey. So I wanted to share this with you because I went to the reparations meeting that was live and on Juneteenth at NJPAC, and the reparations committee, who had been put together by Ryan Haygood, the CEO of New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, and his team, and also with a number of foundations. But the number one foundation is, oh gosh, all right, I'm getting ready to get into a whole thing. The number one foundation was Robert Wood Johnson. I was getting ready to get into a whole thing and not do my proper intro. Please forgive me. Oh my God. Welcome to the Comfort Zone. This is the place where you can determine if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone or not. But remember, you're right. Either way, I'm your host, Donna E. Williams, owner of Donna's Touch LLC, where everything I touch comes from the heart. And today we're going to do the follow up conversation to reparations. So it's an extension of the last episode. Last episode, I talked briefly about going to the actual meeting at NJPAC and going live and being able to share those live videos with you. Some of you were on live with me, and I thank you for doing that, for tuning in and listening to a little bit of the conversation. And because those live videos, they're available to be looked at, not indefinitely, only for 30 days, at least for me. 30 days. I'm going to see what I could do to figure out how to save them. I'm learning all of this stuff as I go along. I am definitely out of my comfort zone in this podcast, but I am enjoying every minute of it because it helps me be able to step out of my comfort zone and do things that I've been wanting to do. Share information, strategies, tools, and just help empower my people and empower me in the process. So, yeah, the nowness of reparations for Black people in New Jersey. This was an awesome, awesome event. Very powerful. They had two panels. I'm going to share with you a short video, and I'm going to put the clip. I plan to put the clip of one of the panels that I videotape because it's a little long. It's like 35 minutes long. But it's so interesting. If you get an opportunity to listen to it, please listen to the panel that I videotaped, the live panel that I videotaped at the reparations event. This was a timely conversation. And I want to play the video that Ross Baraka, part of the video that Ross Baraka did. Uh-oh, it went away. Okay, I got to see if I can find it again because it went away. It went away. I got to find it again. Give me a minute and I will look for it. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Share. There we go. All right, share the sound. Here we go. All right, this should be it right here.
Is now. So we push a little harder and fight not just with slavery on our mind, but with freedom. Something once you have, you can't unlearn. Then there are others of us whose podium or platforms, whose positions and titles, whose notoriety and proximity to whiteness has paralyzed them. They have become more enamored with being invited to sit at the table than building one of their own. Our problem is not just because people refuse to acknowledge the idea of reparations, but our inability to use the power that we have to demand it. If Mary McLeod Bethune can sell sweet potato pies on the side of the road to build Bethune-Cookman College, you surely can use your seat of power to advocate that the resources of this country that were fundamentally built and girded by African-American women who gave birth to the labor force that tilled the wealth and enriched generations that empowered a growing country for free, that those very resources be used to make sure that your children and your children's children can actually go to the university that Mary McLeod Bethune built. Is now. So we push a little harder.
That is just a part of what Ras Baraka said at this very powerful event. I would encourage you to go to YouTube and look this up, the nowness of reparations for Black people in New Jersey. And like I said, they went live there as well. So it should still be up. I haven't looked to see if it's there. And find Ras Baraka's, because he was a keynote speaker at this event. And I just caught a portion of it because I was in the moment and I was listening to what he was saying instead of videotaping. I wanted to hear and feel what he was saying because he delivered his keynote with such passion, such accuracy, and such timing, because it's clear he practiced it. I mean, we know he's the mayor of Newark, so he's used to public speaking, but the way he hammered the point home with the things that he was saying about why we deserve reparations. Now, that word makes people very uncomfortable. And I noticed that this was like a reoccurring theme throughout the event. Not that the people in the room were uncomfortable, but the people who had been the descendants of the ancestors that caused problems or caused the wealth of this state has been built on the backs of us, of slaves. What else is new, right? So it's like, so what are you saying, Donna? Big deal. So for me, the big deal is because of New Jersey, of knowing the nickname of New Jersey. New Jersey is known as the slave state of the North. New Jersey was the last state to abolish slavery, the very last state. New Jersey gave slave owners 150 acres of land and an additional 150 acres of land for every enslaved person that they brought with them. New Jersey paid slave owners to keep their free slaves enslaved, if that makes sense, right? Because they weren't technically, they were free, but they weren't really free. They were so, because when the emancipation took place, after that was passed, then we fell under Jim Crow laws. Then slaves fell under Jim Crow laws, and then that made it even more difficult for slaves to become free and to be able to do and live and make money to survive. The way this whole thing has been set up, it's just so mind-boggling to really understand it all. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know it all. I do not. I want you all to just go to the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, download the executive summary that they have created after 2 years, and they talked about wealth, health, education, and incarceration. They talk about the huge racial divide in New Jersey, the disparities of wealth, health, education, and incarceration. If you are a resident of New Jersey, like I am, I'm a resident of New Jersey, officially, formerly from Brooklyn, but I'm a resident of New Jersey, and I've been a resident of New Jersey since 2004. That's 21 years I've been here. And when I found the things that I found out about the state of New Jersey, I was appalled. Some might say, "Why, Donna? Why did you expect anything to be different?" But I don't know, because there's so much in this state that's in abundance that I did not expect the wealth gap to be as big as it is. So let me share with you the wealth gap in the state of New Jersey is $600,000 between the haves and the have-nots. The haves and the have-nots. $600,000. That's a shame. The health disparities are just as bad, if not worse. It is a known fact that as African Americans, we do not get the quality of health care that our white counterparts get. That's a known fact. Education, incarceration, all of those things play a factor into why New Jersey deserves reparations. So Ryan Haygood, like I said, is the CEO of New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, and RWJ, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, among with others, Chase and other foundations that put their money up to help fund this committee, which is the reparations committee that was headed by John Pierre Brutus. He had an awesome team. There were so many people on these teams, and they talked about different aspects of the inequities in New Jersey. And I'm not going to be able to talk about all of them, but what I am going to do, I'm going to read one thing in particular, the key to some of the key driver to the wealth gap. Oh yeah, I want to read that. Definitely want to read that. The key driver is home ownership. You cannot look at the wealth gap without looking at home ownership gap. Home ownership has always been and remains a key driver of wealth building. Over the course of the pandemic and since, Black and Latino families, who are significantly less likely to own homes, have largely remained separated from home ownership in one of America's wealthiest states, enlarging our already staggering wealth disparities. New Jersey is one of America's wealthiest states. Well, another thing I wasn't aware of, that we're one of the wealthiest states, and we have the most disparities happening in this state. Let me read a little further. The statewide home ownership rate for white New Jersey households is 76.6%, nearly double the home ownership rates for Black and Latino New Jersey households, who have home ownership rates of 41.3% and 40% respectively. These disparities in home ownership have changed very little over the past decade, as revealed in the figure on the next page, which you don't have, so you can't see the next page. The typical Black and Latino family in New Jersey rents their home, while over 3/4 of white families own theirs. Even when Black and Latino families are able to buy homes, they tend to benefit less financially from the investment due to ongoing barriers to fair lending, segregation, appraisal discrimination, and disproportionate vulnerability to foreclosure. Like John Hope Bryan says, You don't know what no one's taught you. Why is there vulnerability to foreclosure? Because you haven't been taught how to manage your money. You haven't been taught how to prepare to deal with your mortgage. You haven't been taught what to do with the equity in your home, how to have the equity in your home work for you and not against you. Um, so compounding the inequity, the income required to maintain home ownership in New Jersey is much higher than in the U.S. overall, which would account for all the taxes that are here. We're taxed very high in New Jersey for home ownership. The median income of New Jersey families with a mortgage of about $150,000. I'm sorry. The median income of New Jersey families with a mortgage is about $150,000, approximately double that of Black and Latino families in the state, highlighting that without quality, well-paying jobs, families of colors will continue to struggle to attain and sustain home ownership. This increases the wealth gap. This is what makes the wealth gap as wide as it is. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the main reasons, and this is because of lack of education, which goes back to the schools, your health. Because if you're not healthy enough to work and get a decent job and get a job making a certain amount of money where you can afford to buy a home, you won't be able to buy a home, and then you can't close the gap. So they talked about environment, they talked about education, they talked about healthcare, they talked about finances, and they talked about what can we do. The call was put back on us as citizens of New Jersey. What can we do to change this? What can we do to help bridge the gap? Do we deserve reparations? Absolutely. We deserve reparations. Do we deserve Oh, okay. So not that we don't deserve reparations, but do we know what to do with the reparations and where they come from? So some of the ideas, there were several. Some of the ideas were put out to suggest where would the reparations money come from? Where would it come from? How would we get the money? That is a part of this conversation that they did not go into. We didn't have enough time. They did not go into where we would get the money from. There have been suggestions on the table that it should come from the taxes. It should come from the families of the universities that have been built in the state of New Jersey. I don't know if anyone is aware that Harvard University had recently hired a researcher to trace back how many slaves were a part of the building of Harvard University and find if they have any living descendants. Well, the researcher uncovered over 900 slaves. He was fired. He was fired. I will look for the link and I will put it in the comments so you guys can read the article yourself, because I don't want to say anything out of turn and somebody's going to come after me and try to sue me. I have no money. I need reparations too. You know what I mean? So, so I'm just avoiding putting myself in that situation. However, there is a very detailed article about what he did, what he found, who he uncovered, and how, because of the accuracy of the information that he found, that it ultimately cost him the job. You know, people don't want, they say they want to do things, they say they want to make amends, they say they want to, until they see how big this really is, the magnitude of what has been done to us as a people, the magnitude of the knowledge that we don't have, the income we don't have, the ability to sit side by side and have the same amount of wealth and investments and growth within within the state and maybe outside of the state and with our ancestors and our families, to not have the same the same level playing field, it's absurd. It's just reprehensible. It's unthinkable, but it is true. It is part of our history. So one of the other things I want to read to you is about what they said at the end, like what was the conclusion. I'm reading from The Two New Jerseys, A Deepening Divide, and it's a report by the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. And so they talk about in here, the deepening divide is the racial wealth gap disaster. So New Jersey has a $640,000 racial wealth gap disaster. Today, in white New Jersey, the median household wealth is $662,000. $500,000. Black and Latino New Jersey families, the median household wealth is less than $20,000. That's more than a $600,000 wealth gap. The wealth gap has doubled since the years before the pandemic, when it was approximately $300,000. That's just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. So in the conclusion of this report, it says, New Jersey is one of the most prosperous states in the nation, but also one of the most inequitable. The policy choices that designed the two New Jersey separated Black and Latinos community from our prosperity. Duh. The truth is, there is enough prosperity for everyone in the Garden State to enjoy. That is the truth. Particularly now, in the face of a national political environment that poses a great risk to Black and Latino people and a changing political landscape here in New Jersey, we must not retreat. Instead, New Jersey has the opportunity to be a model of racial justice that can be built from the ground up in our communities with collective advocacy and political will. That will require us to be affirmative, deliberate, and bold, and to invest in reparative policies that expand prosperity for Black and Latino people and all New Jerseyans. So, if I'm reading this correctly, it's saying that there is very real possibilities for us to fix this. I'm not so sure. Sometimes when you talk about a gap that's big, that's $600,000, that's a big gap. How do you close it? What do you do to close it? Do you start making homes more available? Do you make sure that your what is the investment in your home, the home that you have, it's being appraised? That's the word I was looking for. Is being appraised properly? How do you know? Well, I know when we got this home appraised that I made sure there was a home down the street that sold for whatever amount that it sold for, over $380,000. They're all about $380,000. And I made sure I let the appraiser know that's what the home down the street appraised for. Because I knew I wanted us to either be in that vicinity, the same, or in that vicinity. Wasn't quite the same. We got our appraisal came back a little lower, but it was in the same numbers range. So that helped, I believe, because you have to know what are the comps in your area. If you own a home, what is the comparisons in your area? What are the homes going for in your area? Because yeah, the pandemic came along and things got really crazy as far as interest wise. Interest got very, very low. That was probably the best time. If you wanted to refi, that was probably the best time to do it because interest rate went down as low as 2%. I have a family member that said, I got my home she got it for 2.4. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Anyway, these things happen. So, in order for, I believe, this is just my personal opinion. I don't have any basis for this. I'm just saying based on how things have gone, the gap is probably going to get bigger because that gap doubled during the pandemic. It was 300,000 before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, it went to 600,000. So the gap doubled in like, what's that, 3, 4 years? So what's the reality of that being able to be closed? How do we close it? I'm not sure. I know this. I appreciate the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice for actually putting a committee together to investigate and look into some of the models. There are models of other states that are giving reparations to their citizens, to the people, the ascendants of slaves. They are models of other states that are doing it. And New Jersey looked at some models to see if there's something that we could do that we could take from that could be used to help us. Personally, I feel the money should go into education. I think that when you give individuals money without educating them on what to do with the money, it's going to come right back. It's just you're not going to be able to hold on to it because you don't know what to do. You haven't been taught. I believe there needs to be free financial literacy education. I know Operation Hope does that with John Hope Bryant and his nonprofit, and they are located nationwide. But if we're talking about New Jersey, we need to have fiduciary financial advisors that are willing to donate time to help the descendants of slaves that are still alive, that are owed reparations, that receive reparations, to help them to understand and help them to get them to help them to get the most from their money, help them to be able to invest it, grow it, put it back into their families, leave some kind of legacy. It can be done. Doesn't take a lot to get it done, but it does take consistency and it takes knowledge and it takes know-how. And if you don't know how, you won't. You'll spend the money, you'll blow it. You can buy something for yourself or for your family, but don't use all of it for that. And see, and I think that that's where we're going to have the biggest problem, trying to figure out who gets it, how much do they get, and what do they do with it. You can't control what people do with money once you give it to them, but you can educate them and give them the tools and the information so that they can make better choices and don't end up in the situation where they are. You can also offer people home ownership, not free, but give them the opportunity so that the home that they eventually can buy, rent to own, the homes can be done so that they will have a piece in the closing of the wealth gap because their home will be worth something, and teach them what to do with the equity and teach them how to maintain their property and what are the things that you should look for. Home ownership is one of the most profitable ways to attain wealth. It still is, it always will be. We have work to do. I just wanted to bring this information to you. I hope that you got something from it. Next week, I will talk about something different. I'm talking about I want to start a series. I'm going to start the series on being comfortable. No, I'm sorry. See, I need to get the series right before I talk about it. Right? I need to get the series right. Here it is. Oh, I found the paper. Getting uncomfortable with being comfortable. 3-part series. Getting uncomfortable with being comfortable. Because this is uncomfortable. Reparations, right? Like there's a possibility that there's some money that could come to you, or that some type of information can come to help you to be better in your situation. But if you're comfortable with where you are, you will think that you don't really need it. We all need it. We do. And we need to get uncomfortable with being comfortable in our situation, thinking that we're all right. We're not. $600,000 is the wealth gap in New Jersey based on median income. Something is very, very wrong. Very wrong. I plan to join the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice because I'm one of those people that you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And so I don't know what I'll be able to do. I don't know what I can do, but I know I need to do something because they did put a call to action. And the call to action was for us to talk to our legislatures, our senators, our congresspeople, our council people. I mean, grassroots. You got to go from the infrastructure. You got to go and bring it all the way up. Grassroots. Talk to people. Find out where do they stand on this. Do they have an idea what it would look like for them? Do they have a model? Do they have a plan? What is it that they want to do? Or we can't sweep this under the rug. Now that we've uncovered all of this information, we need to be able to do something about it. We need to hold people accountable, and we need to continue this conversation. I will keep you updated as I get more things. But remember, go to their website, download the report in its entirety, and look at the YouTube. Oh my God, look at the live YouTube. Look at the panels, and listen to Ras Baraka. If that don't get you moving, I don't know what will. But I want you to always remember to celebrate your life. The more you celebrate life, the more life there is to celebrate. I'll see you next time on the Comfort Zone. Reparations from New Jersey African Americans. Let's go.